Yeah, obvious, we got a problem here. And it's more than just Alvin streaming Punisher. When life begins to suck, who's reporting it? Luckily, you got two friends who you won't forget. Coming live, Alvin and Fran on survival. Laughing non-stop, case drops on a cycle. Louder than intrusive thoughts off an iPhone. How they make the world seem bright with the lights off. AFs, it might as well stay up. Lies being told like that dinosaur BS. Magnifying glass to the ground if they don't see us. Having the time, roasting your favorite pizza. Losing ain't an option, it's the way. Make it to the grave, add moving to the place. You already know when they take the case. Laugh the pain away, it's affirmative murder.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Affirmative Murder, the equal opportunity true crime comedy podcast. I am Alvin Williams, joined as always by my partner in true crime, Fran and Alvin.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman.
Yeah, man, I'm the mailman. Can't you tell, man? Gonna post to it.
What up? Fran, hello, sir. It is good to be speaking to you once again. Last week, I was a little funky. We changed things up a little bit, but this week, I'm here. I'm ready to talk about some of the most important things that we didn't get a chance to talk about, last week in the haze of all that stuff that was going on in my personal life. And one of the most important things that we never got to talk about, is all over the headlines, is really an incredibly swept the nation, swept the world by storm. The Montgomery, Alabama brawl. It's the only thing I really want to talk to you about, Fran. I feel like it's a great way to get back into things and talk to my buddy and really dive into this and dissect this. We didn't get a chance to, obviously, so we're coming. We're now on the heels, on the precipice of the fifth person being charged in this brawl. There are charges being handed out left and right. They're rounding people up to give the people that deserve charges. Okay. Fran, first question was this instance, is this a top 5 day on Black Twitter for you?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And also, like, your just general thoughts of the whole thing overall.
Oh, it was one of the moments where I
or Black X. I'm sorry, Malcolm X. I'm sorry, the
new
X
app?
now. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
sorry,
yeah.
Twitch. Sorry, old brain.
Yeah.
Is it one of the top 5 days on Malcolm X, the Malcolm X app for you?
It is, and it was one of the days where, I first seen it on TikTok. That's where I first saw that.
Sure.
And then I kind of I always go to TikTok. I always go to X for my news. So I'll go over there, and it's one of the moments where I smiled. I was like, I felt so proud.
Yeah.
To see us Black people come together. Man, nobody got violent. I mean, nobody got
I don't know.
There wasn't any blood involved. There wasn't like stabs or anything like that. It was a fight.
A good old fashioned
good old-fashioned beat-down. Those Black people came together. They didn't even notice the security guard. Came together and was like, no, this
wrong is wrong.
It ain't going down like that.
So just to give people a heads up, because I am also proud, I feel like there might be people that go like, this was violent and you shouldn't be celebrating. What happened was there was a commercial boat that, like a riverboat gambling type of boat was out. The vessel was out and now had to dock. This group of people who were of the Caucasian variety were in their personal boat and parked where the boat is supposed to. This commercial, like, they pay for the spot. A person told them that they can't do it. They did it anyway. And so the security guard came and got off the boat and moved the boat. Like, I guess, as big as boats are, some boats you can just pull the string and it's a fucking boat, so he just pulled the string and it moved it out of the way. They come back. Why'd you move our boat? He's telling them, this is my job. Your boat's not supposed to be parked there. They're getting loud with him. He's getting loud with them. But at the end of the day, they're in the wrong.
Yes.
Right? So I see a lot and I could tell, I'm a body language expert when it comes to like 50 and over Black men. So it was a lot of even though we couldn't hear it, there was a lot of if you want to take it there, we can take it there.
Yeah.
But you got to move your boat and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And if you, I'll be that right now, but you can catch me up at 5 o'clock when I get off work. It was a lot of I'm doing my job right now, but I'm not a chump. I could tell that they were probably saying some real slick shit to him. He was saying some slick shit back, but I'm on the clock right now. So at the end of the day, the boat had to be moved.
Yeah.
And you could take it up and feel however you want to feel about it, but the boat is moved. And they're still coming and getting in his face. And eventually somebody pushed him in his neck, mushed his face really hard. Mm-hmm. And this man proceeded to do something that will go down. It needs to be in that Smithsonian museum that you went to, the Black History Museum in D.C.
With the hat?
He took his hat, and it was a throw that was every Black person knew what that throw meant. It was like well, then let's fucking do it then. It was so like he was almost. It was like a happy throw. Like, well, then come on.
Yeah. To me, it was more like, oh, you done fucked up now.
Yes,
what it
same like, oh, okay, that's what you want to do. Then let's go.
Yeah, you don't
Hat
fucked up.
flies up into the stratosphere.
Yeah,
you know, I don't
it's
think
such
that
an
hat's
old,
still up there.
old black man thing to do.
Yeah, it was
But
like
it is the equivalent to a young person's like pulling their pants up. Let's go.
Yep. Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, like it's go time.
Yeah,
let's get it going then. And those Caucasian men jumped on that older man.
Yeah.
And whooped on him something good. But what was crazy to me when we talk about the entitlement, you could hear the people filming. There was a whole boat of people watching this happen, and they felt like they went and got back on their boat. From what I heard, they might have tried to start it up, but it didn't look like it. It looked like they went back over to their boat. Some other people went and got their. What I think happened was they heard the rumbling, and then some people, two of the men went to go get their wives.
Yeah,
because there's like some kind of bar at this place.
Yeah.
So they go up the boardwalk to go get their family, and then the other two are like on the boat waiting to leave.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that, they park this goddamn riverboat or whatever. Also, while this is happening, the boat's taking too long. One of the staff dives in the water. They've called this man every name under the sun. Black Aquaman and Laquan Phelps and all this stuff. So he jumps in the water and does a perfect breaststroke to the dock, pulls himself up. All of this takes tremendous cardio and physical strength.
Yeah.
Kicks his socks off and is ready to squabble.
Let's go.
That's the thing. It's like what it was. I think it was a universal wrong, right?
Yeah.
Like I think a bunch of people, black, white, whatever. It happened to be a racially motivated type of incident as far as the divide. Mm-hmm. But I think a bunch of people saw a guy doing his job being hassled by these people who were in the wrong, and then they jump on him unfairly. So it's like, and then it's Alabama. We've made our jokes and everything. Obviously, we've never been, probably never will go. Actually, now I feel like I gotta go touch base at that dock like Mecca. Now I feel like I have to go pay my respects.
Yeah,
so I might have a reason to go to Alabama just for that. Like fly in.
You could do that for us.
Fly in.
I won't be going there.
Fly in, do a prayer and then leave. I feel like I now have motivation. But anyway, it's Alabama. There's a history, a deep-rooted history in the soil of racism and, people feeling inferior, walking around, people still being called boy. And to see that black man doing his job get jumped on, I think that boat full of black people were like, not fucking today. And so fuck it being over. Like y'all felt like y'all got y'all licks in and y'all want to go back to your boat and leave. Nah, fuck that. The boat's parked. Let's continue. Now he's got some backup. It's for y'all. Now y'all are, it's against the odds for y'all. So it was this very righteous event that stemmed from something so dumb. I feel like it was something so dumb that was avoidable. And then one guy that got charged this week, he deserved it. There was a guy that, sometimes people get too excited.
Yeah.
And there was a guy there, everybody's fighting, and I'm celebrating. Yeah, man, get him. Yeah, they're right on. They shouldn't have jumped on the man like that. And then a dude came and took a steel chair and hit a woman on the top of her head. And it was like, oh, hey, man, hey. And then police grabbed him immediately, and I didn't bat an eye.
Hey, well.
I was like, he should be apprehended. That was too far.
The funny part about it was, the first part of the incident, part one, essentially, what initially started the whole thing. And then it took a couple minutes for the second part to come out. Nobody knew what was happening down on the other end.
Yeah, there's so many angles.
You can see, but nobody knew exactly what, and it was like, oh, another part came out, and then the dude took that chair and I thought
he was going to work.
I thought it was hilarious. The way he smacked that lady inside that chair. Wasn't fucked up, yes, but he fucked her up.
He just did not. But here's what was funny.
No, wait. It was just him. That dude blacked out, man.
He didn't give a fuck. That's what
he blacked out, and he had some past trauma that he could. It all came out, and he was like, no, "Fuck, it's my time."
Yeah,
I'm taking this chair to everybody.
Revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way it was such a not give a fuck. I don't care if you're a woman or what. I got this chair. Everybody's getting it. Like if you have white skin. I'm mad. Shit. Y'all beat up this man. I got the perfect reasoning behind it, and I'm going crazy right now. He was hitting everybody with the chair. It was insane. And at the core of it, I am a person. Let me go ahead and put my reasonable hat on for sure for a second and be like, racially motivated violence in any form is wrong, and I don't think that's okay for people to be hurt and be attacked and everything like that. But start shit, get hit. Also, I'm a very, like they put their hands on that man in front of a crowd of black people and didn't expect those black people to get off that boat and come to that man's defense. That says a lot about what they think about.
No, they didn't expect that.
Yeah, like it says a lot about what they think they could do and get away with publicly. And that speaks to a lot of what happened to them as well. Like, I mean, I don't know how you could think that you could do that and people would just sit around and go, whatever. Oh, well, not my business. Yeah, especially in Alabama of all places.
Yeah, well, they was on a boat and alcohol was definitely consumed, and I'm sure that played a huge part. And I'm not saying that justifies them jumping on the black man, but
everybody was drunk.
They was drunk. Come on.
Yeah, everybody was drunk. Everybody gets rowdy. Everybody gets rowdy when they get drunk. Especially, I've been around a lot of white dudes in boats. White dudes in boats and White Claws all day. Yeah. They just get their chest gets all red and they just get a little scrappy. Yeah. With anybody. I'm not going to sit here and, even though I did hear that there were some racial slurs thrown around.
Of course it was. No way it wasn't.
Yeah, they're all fired up. You touched my boat with your jigger hands, or whatever he said. I don't know what he said, but I'm just saying, some things were rolled, some things were probably thrown around, and that's not okay. But I think that they were just mad also in general. Yeah. But that's no excuse to be, 4-on-1, some dude trying to do his job.
Yeah, I love it.
I think that's the part that I think that the same scenario, just a dude getting into a fight, I think a similar thing happens still, but it was something about this dude being at work and trying to do his job, and everybody on the boat knows he's in the right. Like, they probably met that guy. He probably waved to him while they're getting on the boat before the boat took off to do whatever it does. And, he probably just is a middle-aged, older black dude doing his job. And they see this dude getting jumped on because they're in the wrong. I think it was just a perfect match on a perfect keg.
I disagree. I think him doing his job had maybe 30% of why they helped him. I don't think him doing his job had nothing to do with him. That had nothing to do with that.
Well, a little bit. Chairman, by the time they got chairman, he had the story all messed up. These 5 white dudes jumped on this black woman who he didn't even know what incited the thing. He didn't know how it started.
Like, we hit white people, we beating them up. Let's go.
I think, but that's the thing. I think if we're throwing out percentages, you threw a percentage out. I think probably like 40 between 40 and 60% of the people involved in that had that same sentiment.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there were definitely people there.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
It was just like, no, we fighting. Oh, we jumping off of this boat.
That's what I mean. So I think there were clearly people there. There were people with the camera angles everywhere. There were clearly people there that saw the wrong that taking place. Yes. But then there were also people that just kind of showed up and were like, oh, we beating these people up? Let me partake, please. Let me get in on this. Let me get some of this. But that first, it was something, I don't know. I know it was violence and I know whatever, but there was something beautiful about that first wave of people that came. Dude comes off the boat. The 3 dudes come like, oh, y'all want to jump people? What's up? We're here now. Yeah. The staff came over there. Like, the staff is really.
The staff hopped in.
The staff is the most justified.
Yes.
They know him. They know he has kids. They know his life. They know he needs this job. He's retired and whatever the hell his life story is. The staff is the most justified in being like, y'all are not jumping on my man like that. Yeah. Everybody else kind of was like, 2020. It was still like some remnants of some other shit, like life problems, the man, like everything. It was
Alabama,
a lot of that shit.
It was Alabama. It was a lot of context around this whole thing where it's just like,
yes.
Oh, this white
explosion.
No,
explosion.
That's snap, and we going after this boat. And
they've been doing this for 400 years. They've been jumping us for 400 years. And
it's like,
it was a lot of that. Yeah, so sure. I found it to be interesting. Obviously, when we talk about, I'm not calling that shit X. When we talk about how Twitter reacted to it, it was easily a top 5 Twitter day for me. I mean, Black Twitter was in rare form and on the coming on the cusp of Elon Musk being a complete idiot. This guy has no marketing sense at all. Like, you can call this shit whatever you want to call it. Black Twitter's still Black Twitter. Yeah. I thought it was an amazing,
Well, that's because it's his thing now.
Yeah, he wants to make it his own. But, if I buy McDonald's and everybody knows I'm loving it and everything, and I get to buy McDonald's and keep all the intellectual property, I'm not going to have this arrogance and go, well, I want people to call them Alvin burgers. I don't want y'all. I want y'all to know that it's mine. So I need to change it up to put my stamp on it. Like, no, you bought something. It's moving how it moves, Everybody likes it how it is, and now you ruined it. He's ruined the blue check marks. Like, those shits are just... If you have a blue check mark at this point, I laugh at you because I assume you bought it.
Yeah.
So it's like a meaningless thing now, and most celebrities they didn't buy them. So it just be like, Halle Berry's out here tweeting from an unverified account because it's like, I'm not paying you to be verified.
Well, you got to pay for the gold check. I think those are for like celebrities now.
Yeah, I think they grandfathered in some people.
You still have to pay, I think.
But my point is, but he changed that, I think. Yeah, so now a blue check mark like the gold check mark is the official one that's free that the celebrities get just to verify that this is their original account. And then the blue check mark comes with like perks or whatever. You can tweet as much tweets as whatever it is. And that one, but everybody knows the blue check is the McDonald's golden arches of Twitter.
Right.
So now he's ruined that.
Yeah.
It's like, that is me. I don't care about a gold check. I don't care about if you get a gold check. Okay. The blue check was the thing.
Yeah.
Now that's ruined.
Yeah, not no more.
And so I don't know how that feels like terrible marketing to me. But anyway, to see Black Twitter be like, I don't give a shit what you call this shit. We're having a Black Twitter moment, and it's Black Twitter, Black X, Malcolm X. Well, you can call it whatever you want to, but this is Black Twitter coming together, forming like Voltron, and having a hell of a day. It was like 3 days. This one stretched out.
Yeah.
And I loved every minute of it. I loved the memes. I loved the conversations. I loved everybody's takes. I loved all the pictures of people swimming, being Aquaman and jumping out of the water. It was a beautiful time out of something that was like inherently just an exceptionally violent thing. Like I can admit that. Like this was violent. I don't like to see, we have these talks. Like I don't like to see us be portrayed that way. But like they started it.
Yeah.
I think that matters. They jumped on that man, like that matters. This wasn't just black people being portrayed like violent, whatever, like thugs. They jumped on that man first. And I think that we got to make sure that doesn't get missed. I know it's funny to watch, but you see how quickly it's the subtle things in the media. To us, it's hilarious on Twitter, right? But if Fox News and CNBC and CNN only play the guy hitting the woman with the chair and the black dudes yanking the people's boat, and they don't show that they jumped on that man first, then it just looks like a bunch of black people jumped off a boat and attacked a bunch of white people.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's important that it doesn't get lost that they attacked the guy at work first, and then those people came to that man's defense. So that's the thing. Like we can make jokes in the room, but then when people come peeking in the room and they take from it what they take from it, that's our fault, because we got to make sure we give the whole context. So we're laughing at the dude hitting the woman with the chair, and we're laughing at the black dude swimming, and we're laughing at them making the other two dudes jump in the water, which is crazy. They like abandoned their family. One of them dove in the water to swim away from which is also a high key racist.
What?
For him to be like, I can just jump in the water and I'm safe because black people can't swim.
Yeah.
So he kept jumping in the water. Like whenever they would come over his way, he kept jumping in the water. And then he would swim back.
Oh, that's what happened. I didn't know. They say he jumped in the water. I didn't know if they were saying one of the white people jumped in the water or...
Yeah, it was like two young dudes.
Since security was coming, they was trying to run away by jumping in the
water. No, whenever they would get rushed, they would jump in the water. And the black people would almost like, it was like bees. They would go right up to the edge and the guy would jump in the water and go, oh, well, we're not going in there. And then go back and go in the other fights.
Yeah.
And then the guy would swim back over to the dock and pull himself up. And then they would run back over and jump back in the water.
Yeah. Well, one of them did get thrown in the water. That was hilarious too. So
it was chaos, man. It was absolute chaos. Again.
They fighting. Oh, she's getting thrown in the water. Oh, he got a chair. It was just a whole bunch of shit, like just a Russell
the commentary
just going off at once. Oh, I loved it.
It was crazy, and it was a hell of a moment. Again, I don't like to see us portrayed that way, but in this instance, again, like you said, there was this pride.
What do you mean portrayed that way though? What do you mean when you say that?
Because there's all these camera phones showing all these black people attacking these people. I mean, that's how it looks. Because it started off
because they jumped on the guy first.
I know, but it started off 4-on-1, and now it's 20-on-4, and it looks away. That's my only point. I'm on the side of the people, but I'm just saying the way that media is going to portray it and has portrayed it is like chaos and these people attacking these people and violence and all this stuff. And I just want to say again that it's important for us to contextualize that these people
I don't think that I just
so
don't think
outraged. We're so outraged that they jumped on this man. Well, that's just how.
Well, you don't need to do that though. I feel like when you say and do that, I feel like you're kind of like you're not giving what the people that did to help out their credit. Where it was like, where you're saying that, oh well, since they jumped in to help, we gotta make sure we give an explanation of why they did this.
Well, listen. I mean, I don't want to get into semantics, but like they didn't jump in and help. You know what I mean? Like they jumped in to defend what happened to him, but like the fight was over. The boat pulled up and then they reignited the fight. The fight was over. Like he didn't need help at that point. I still agree that they did something like that. Made
the
me
fight
feel
was over. It wasn't over. It was one guy that came in. It was one guy, a black guy that ran over there. That while they were still jumping this man, he came over and was kind of pushing him away. He didn't throw a punch. And then the other guys came after they kind of backed off.
I'm saying when the wave came, the dudes were on the boat. The other dudes were up at the whatever. This thing had dispersed.
Nah, fuck that.
Fuck that. I agree with you. Fuck that. Keep it going or whatever. But I'm just saying it wasn't like all these people came over mid jump and then like it was re-sparked.
No, they saw.
But I'm on the side of it. I'm not against you. I thought it was something beautiful. If a bunch of people jumped on you while you were at work delivering mail, I would hope that if a bunch of black people or any people saw that happening, they would come to your aid and rally around and help you in that situation. Yeah. And so I think that there is something beautiful in that. In the context of Alabama, the history of, segregation and racism in Alabama that's still palpable to this day. All of that stuff matters when you talk about just the expectation that they felt like they could put their boat wherever they wanted to.
I think it sucks that we have to give some type of explanation to be like, to kind of like not make other people, not when they put it on social media, not for people to judge us like, oh, look at these animals.
Sure.
I mean, like if they don't know what the fuck, if people don't want to find out the whole story and kind of want to take bits and parts of what they want to see on news or whatever, it's like, fuck
but
that,
that's
man.
the world. That's the world. I
mean, we can't do nothing about that.
We do the same thing.
I don't know. I don't know.
We are a culture of headlines.
I don't know. I just don't think that's right. But
I get it. I just like to give my full thoughts, and my full thoughts are: I was on the side of the people. I think that they came to that man's aid and defense, and it was like this powerful resistance. It was this revolutionary type of energy to it, but at the same time, it was violence and people getting beat up, and I'm not a violent guy. I don't like to see people get hurt. I did enjoy it. I did laugh at it, but like I don't want to see people out there fighting and throwing people in the water and all that stuff.
All right. Whatever. Man. It was a fight, man. It's like you can't come up here saying like I get violence, I get it, but I mean like it was a brawl, bro. Nobody got badly hurt. Nobody. The lady that got her head hit with the chair, she didn't break her neck. There wasn't blood spat. It was just a fight, bro. We've been in plenty of fights when we were young, where it's just like, oh well, we move on. It's for sure. It's fine, man. I feel like, but you're like. No violence. I get it. But you don't need to sit up.
You don't gotta put on a. You don't.
You don't need to.
You don't gotta mock me, man. You don't.
Cause man, you keep saying violence. Like it was a fight, man. So they threw a couple punches, man. So whatever, man. That's it.
It was a squabble.
Is it a violence under the category of violence? Sure, but like when I say violence, I mean like stab wounds. Somebody's, there wasn't that, bro. It wasn't that. It wasn't that.
It was a scuffle.
It's a scuffle. You keep going back to violence. Nobody was crazy hurt. It wasn't that bad. Man. It wasn't, man.
The chair impact, I still hear it in my dreams. You know what I'm saying?
She's still hearing her dreams. She will have nightmares.
She's going to hear that for the rest of her life. Yeah. And again, I just want to say, I know what you're saying about me, but if you go back and watch the footage, everybody around, even when he did that to that woman, was like, oh hey, all right, hey, man. Like people started like grabbing him and pushing like he got too excited. So everybody has that one friend. Yeah. We're all cracking jokes. Take it overboard. And they're like,
your mom. Like, all right, man.
Yeah. Now the shit is awkward now. Yeah. So I could tell everybody was enjoying the squabble, and then he did that, and people were like, oh, hey man, whoa, okay, all right, relax. People start taking the chair out of his hand.
The one person that sings like after the song is stopped and like you just keep on.
Still hitting. You still trying to. Like all right, man. The moment is past now. So he did that as the fight was doing this. The fight was the wave had started to go down.
Yeah, I don't think he realized it though. I think he just blacked out.
He was like, I agree with you. He was somewhere else. He was in 1963. Somebody just called him boy outside of a farmer's shop or something like that. Like something, he was triggered. So, it is what it is. Before we take a quick break, I just want to, again, one more time, thank anybody that reached out to me and sent me condolences and prayers in the last week. That was very nice of you. And also, I want to give some Patreon shout outs before we take our break. We got a couple of quick ones. I want to give a shout out to, oh my God. I want to give a shout out. Monica B. Shout out to Monica B. It's been a while. I want to give a shout out to Monica B, Wendy S.I., Erica, and Zachary L. Shout out to you guys. Much love and appreciation. Thank you for the support. We appreciate you guys, and we hope to deliver some great content to you guys soon. And CrimeCon is coming up. We hope to see you guys down in Orlando. Be sure to, if you are in the area, in that neck of the woods, drop by our booth, show us some love. We'll probably have some swag for you, some stickers and whatnot and all that type of stuff. And, we'd love to chat it up with you guys. We like to bring our equipment down, so we'll probably be live recording from the booth so you could be a part of the podcast. You have some interesting stories, maybe some live tales from the hood.
That'd be dope.
If you could keep them under, because it's all kind of, it's crazy hectic. So it can't be a 20-minute story. But if you can come and you can tell us a crazy story from your neighborhood and growing up or currently today in like 2 to 5 minutes, we'd love to hear from you at our booth at CrimeCon. Yeah. The mics will be available to you. We'd love to hear that. And we can interact live and it'll be like campfire stories.
And I would assume if you interested in doing that because you're going to be there, kind of like had a story, put together.
Be ready. Be ready to tell it. Be ready to tell it. I don't want about that. Yeah. Let's see.
Because I will zone out, and that will be and I won't be a part of the story.
Please know that Fran is not. He is very susceptible to spacing out during a tangent. So if you go, so it was me and my brother. Well, first before I even get, let me take a break. Let me tell you about my brother. Yeah. So my brother loves anime. You lost him. Yeah, now you got to talk about anime for 5 minutes. He's gone, and now he's got to try to catch back up into the story. Yeah. When you get back to it, don't do it. Concise. Direct. Yeah. Don't go off on a tangent. We don't need to know the backstory of every person in your story. This is not a Quentin Tarantino movie. We don't need to have like little movies within the movie where you go off and tell us this person's origin. We don't need to do that. If you want to come, we would love to hear from you. Tell us your stories or just come chop it up with us. Talk to us at the booth. But in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to get into some fucked up shit. So stick around. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by HelloFresh. Take a bite out of summer with HelloFresh. From chef-crafted seasonal ingredients to their new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings flavor right to your door. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your front doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. And HelloFresh gets that you want options when it comes to making food for dinner. Not just the same old thing. That's why they offer up to 40 recipes to choose from every single week, so you'll never get bored and can always find something new to try and love. And obviously in the summer months, you're doing a lot of trips and traveling, so when you get home, it's nice to have a box of HelloFresh waiting for you, and you got dinner ready in less than 30 minutes. It's a really good option for me when I don't feel like going to the grocery store, and it's always fun to cook. With some music on, just lose track of time. Just go to HelloFresh.com/50hysteria and use the code 50hysteria for 50% off plus free shipping. That's the number 50, 50, HYSTERIA. Use that code and get 50% off your order plus free shipping. Once again, that's HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by Rosetta Stone. Are you looking to get a leg up at your job at IKEA by learning to speak Finnish or whatever floopy-doop language they speak so you can sell more furniture? Or maybe you're trying to figure out what cute and infectious and adorable things BTS are saying on all their red carpet interviews. Well, then I think Rosetta Stone is for you. Rosetta Stone is the most trusted language learning program, hands down. Rosetta Stone teaches you through immersion. So instead of memorizing and drilling vocabulary words into your brain, you learn by matching audio from native speakers, from visuals to reading stories, participating in dialogues, and other practical language skills which help you fast-track your ability to communicate fluently. Rosetta Stone offers 25 languages from Spanish to French, Italian, German to Chinese, Korean, and Japanese, and even Dutch, Arabic, and Polish. And right now they're offering a lifetime membership. You can buy the program now and get it forever. That's right, you will forever have access to all the lessons for all the languages and literally never pay a renewal fee. The focus of this program is preparing you for real, authentic conversations, not just knowing a couple of phrases. So if you find yourself, I don't know, in Switzerland on top of a mountain at a random bar, and you want to convey to them that I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat any of the animals that I've seen on my trek up this mountain, Do you have any vegetarian options? You will be able to do that without causing a scene or disrespecting your waiter, and potentially having Swiss spit in your beer. So don't put off learning that language any longer. There's no better time than right now to get started. And for a limited time, Affirmative Murder listeners can get Rosetta Stone's lifetime membership for 40% off. That's $179 for unlimited access to 25 language courses for the rest of your life. Just go to rosettastone.com/today and start learning a new language today. Avito Sane. Affirmative Murder is brought to you by the graphic novel Homicide from Macmillan. Originally published in 1991, David Simon's book Homicide is a true crime classic. It was a New York Times bestseller and the winner of the Edgar Allan Poe Award for Best True Crime Book. Simon's Homicide became the basis for the acclaimed television show Homicide: Life on the Streets, and inspired HBO's hit show The Wire, one of the best shows of all time. Now Homicide has been reimagined into a gritty, cinematic graphic novel. It has noir-inspired artwork, which is perfect for the dark tale of the murder and crime. It's perfect for fans of The Wire and other true crime shows and podcasts. Personally, they sent me a copy of this book and I could not put it down. The illustrations are amazing to go along with an already incredible story. And it'll be over before you know it and it'll leave you wanting more. To learn more, go to bit.ly/homicidegraphicnovel.com. That's bit.ly/homicidegraphicnovel.com. Or just grab a copy wherever books are sold. This book's not only a must-read, but it's a must-see too. All right, back to the pod. All right, and we are back. Before we get into what I feel like is a really interesting story that we are doing this week, I want to give a shout out to a friend of the podcast, Amanda Jacobson from Wine and Crime. Her wedding was this past week, or is coming up. I had the invitation on the fridge. I wasn't able to make it because of the timing. It's during the week, and I just could not find the time to fly down there for the wedding. I regret it so much. I was excited to go, and then I saw the dates. I was like, I just can't make those dates work. But I'm incredibly happy for Amanda. Super excited for them. Also, apparently Lucy from Wine and Crime is pregnant. Kenyon just had a baby like a year ago. So super happy for that entire, just nothing but blessings and great things happening over at that podcast. In the meantime, obviously Lucy will start to, go through the stages of pregnancy. If you need two handsome people to step in and, for an episode over there at Wine and Crime,
I am available.
Amanda, you have my phone number. We would love to help out if that ever comes up. If there are any scheduling conflicts with the crew over there and with all the beautiful things that are happening, just let us know. But anyway, Fran,
yes,
let's let the people know that this week we wanted to dive into the history of music festivals because this past month, a person who was a big controversial figure over the last couple of years in the festival culture, Travis Scott, released his follow-up to the Astroworld album Utopia, and he is now touring that album with these signature shows that they've all been out of the country, and I don't know if that's for reasons surrounding what happened with Astroworld, but they're all sporadic around at like very spread out different places all around the world. I've seen footage of him. He's an amazing performer, which we'll get into obviously when we get to that part, but a bad thing happened, and so it made us want to dive into what is a music festival and where do they start, and have things like this happened before? And we found a bunch of stuff which we would like to get into. Fran, how's the process for you as far as doing this research? I know you haven't really been to many music festivals, right?
No, like the thing about when doing this, I was excited because history, when you kind of like start doing research on stuff and then you kind of go back to the history or the origin of how everything started and how it evolves into what it is now, it's pretty interesting because you go like, whenever I think about a concert, I never thought about like thinking of past concerts or festivals and how they were before it got to what it is now. So like doing this research, I was like, oh shit. And you hear about certain artists that you know of from different type of genre of music, but you go like, oh, it started from this and like fucking, 17th, 18th, 19th century. And you go like, damn, like
they were doing festivals back then.
It's been around for forever. And it's like, and you never think of stuff like that, especially like for me, concert, because I'm not a like concert goer. So it's like, I've never thought about like, oh, let me look at the history of like, how this all started. So it was like reading that and then learning some new shit. It's always fun. So
and let's get into it. So although fairs and festivals predate recorded time, the DNA of modern music festivals can be tracked back to the dawn of the 20th century, with religion and classical music festivals that used cathedrals as venues. They were up in the churches turning up, right?
Yeah.
So as an example, there was this festival called the Three Choirs Festival. Mm-hmm. They were shutting shit down, drawing hordes of Rossini, Mozart, and Beethoven fans to cathedrals in England in the 18th century. So just imagine a crowd of people and you hear that bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
Bum 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 bum. I imagine the energy in there was turned up. People start moshing to that.
I doubt it, but yeah, sure.
But somebody's like, "That's my shit. Oh, it's about to drop."
Well,
Bump.
Who was the one I couldn't hear?
Beethoven.
It's Beethoven. Okay, that's the one.
Yeah, that's Beethoven. Yeah. That's Beethoven. Yeah. And also, there's some. I don't know. I watched a lot of YouTube conspiracy videos, but I watched one that said like Beethoven. If you look at his pictures, he was black.
I didn't see that
because he had like nappy hair. They say he was like he was like a mulatto. That's the rumor. You know, I don't know. I never seen a real picture of everything I seen was like drawings. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make his hair look extra little curly in a drawing with some cold pencils. So anyway, festivals have always served as outlets for emotional expression and to give people a way to break away from their monotonous lives. And I would agree with that. Whenever I've gone to festivals, it's like a different world. Everybody's dressed up. It's, nobody's thinking about bills and tomorrow. It's just about we're having a good time today. They have also been used as tools to give out mass entertainment. But up until the 20th century, music festivals were considered a luxury for the wealthy and members of high society. So, there weren't like poor peasant type people going to festivals. These were like high society cultural events where people were exchanging ideas and, showing off their opulence and wealth and basically, paying people to entertain them. Think about the idea of that. That's a very wealthy thing. Like, I want to be entertained. I will pay you to come and sing and dance for me.
So
that's the origins of a festival.
Was this okay? So this is before theaters where the what you call it? The seats are like super high and it's a small closed off type of theater where it's like you see how you look. That's how I picture when I.
It's giving very much that. That's very much the status of the people who were going to festivals as well.
Everybody had top hats.
Now, possibly. Okay. Everybody had like a corsage, like a little flower on their blazer jackets, and the women were wearing nice flowy dresses.
Did they have the suits with the long thing in the back?
Yeah, you flap it back and you sit down and you play the piano. Yeah, yes, exactly. Everybody had those kind of suits on.
Okay.
Everybody had cummerbunds on.
What is that called?
It's I don't know. Oh man, Tom and Jerry from Tom and Jerry.
I thought you was gonna pull one out. Like I thought, man, how you know that? How you know what
that one?
Called?
I don't know. I just know you flap it. It's got the tail. I know it. It's a tux. It's like a. I don't know. Okay. That one you got me on that one. Right. I don't know because people shouldn't wear those anymore. It never was cool. If I see you in that's
crazy. That's fly.
You think that's fancy, but you're wrong.
That's fly though.
That's you being like, oh, it's prom. Let me get the two-tail blazer jacket out.
I think that's dope because nobody would have that. That's the stuff I like.
Oh, you'll be one of one.
For sure.
In 2023, if you have the piano seat back jacket on, you're the only one wearing that.
For sure.
Like you're the only person wearing that. You flap it back, crack your knuckles, and get down. Right. Play some Beethoven. But yeah, so it was festivals began as this very high society show of opulence and wealth. There was a lot of money involved as far as people that were there. Mm-hmm. They were not like commoners. This was not an event for commoners. No. Festivals. So this notion changed, however, Fran, during World War I, when the financial burden, both societally and as a country, the idea shifted to stockpiling weapons and getting food, the essentials.
Yes,
nothing ever changes. Like that's the thing about class, right? Poor people in times of war have to make decisions about who eats, when we eat, how much we can eat. And rich people had to go, all right, well, I guess we don't need to throw a festival this year because, I guess we should focus on buying things that we need. Yeah. We need to cut some costs. Let's not throw the festival this year. So that's when festival culture started to die down, was during World War I. So festivals fell to the wayside for the privileged sector, who were the ones who were known for enjoying festivals. Mm-hmm. But Fran, as we know, with war comes resistance through art, and the resistance birthed genres like folk and jazz. and lower income people feeling the impact of war met up in small nightclubs to be entertained by like-minded musicians and creatives away from the upper class. Yeah. So,
and probably the more talented people, more talented.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Here's the thing. Like, I've seen so many videos. You can watch a video of a guy who's classically trained on the guitar, play a guitar perfectly.
Yeah.
And then you could watch a guy like B.B. King or, you know, some of these old school jazz and blues musicians who just learned on their own. Yep. They didn't go to some school, and they make the guitar cry in a different way. Because it's just pain and culture and energy. It's one thing to know how to pluck the strings, but to know how to talk to the strings and work the strings and put you into the strings. Yeah. That's the difference. So yeah, of course, like poor people and, you know, poor black people specifically create dope shit. It just, you know, some of the most dope shit is birthed from poverty, struggle, and pain. And just, you know, if you put all that stuff into, you know, the creative mind of black people, some of the most amazing cultural things of all time, some of the best art, some of the best music has come from that. So yeah, of course, you know, yeah, poor people invented jazz, and then it was this underground escape and, you know, in a time of war, it consoled people and, you know, gave people the motivation to fight against the system and, you know, voice their opinions. And, you know, it was the backdrop for a lot of political discourse, jazz and folk music.
Well, we created a lot of genres of music, but sure.
And we will get into how, again, a discussion we have a lot on here. I'll get into it, and no shade to this lady. But again, black people create stuff, and then what happens? There's, you know, these white people that have some money, hear it, and they love it, and they go, I'm going to monetize that. And this is, I will get into that in a second. So by the time World War I was over, jazz had become an established musical genre. That's such a crazy thing to say that. Jazz has become this, you know, I feel like our generation, jazz is synonymous with like old and all these things, but jazz was rock and roll when it first started. It was this new thing, and it was chaotic. And, you know, I feel like we need to go back to respecting jazz again, because it's true instrumentation. It's real talent. But it's crazy how, you know, times change and things flip around, and now it's considered this like suits and nice clean cut and whatever. And it started off as like the music of the poor. So the unique sound of jazz was birthed in black pain and talent and culture, and inspired a cultural and musical movement that touched people globally. In fact, popular musical festivals in the United States can be tracked back to two people, Louis and Lorraine Loriard. These people were a couple that met in Italy while they were during World War I. During World War II, they met in Italy, fell in love, and bonded over their love of jazz music. Right? These are two Caucasian people. Yep. They met and were like, "How good is this jazz music? I love this. Right? This is amazing. It's so powerful and real and raw. Oh my god!" And they have the money and the influence to be able to live in Italy while there's a war happening, like they're abroad. Nuts. And now the war is over. They come back to America because, you know, they can travel in betwixt. You know, they can go between Italy and, you know, they have the privilege to do that. Nice. Yes, must be nice. But what they did was they returned to the States. They were determined to use jazz to add a cultural fabric to Newport, Rhode Island, which I imagine in 1955 or whatever was the whitest town. A coastal town in Rhode Island. There couldn't have been any black people. So they're like, we're going to go back to Rhode Island now knowing what jazz is, and we're going to be hipsters.
The picture I saw on the article that we both looked at of this story that was on what we read, they showed a picture of the Rhode Island type of whatever festival it was. It was nothing but like hippie looking white people. That's all it was.
They flew in all these black artists to perform for them and give them that feeling of culture and, you know, realism and feeling like they're integrating and society's changing. And I respect them for that. I think that this was they predated hipsters. Like Louis and Elaine were two kind of predated hipsters who went, we're going to go back to our lily white town and we're going to show them what culture is. We've been traveling and we've seen things and we've heard music that is from, you know, the real side of America that nobody talks about. And we're going to take it to our white town and we're going to change people's minds. And all they needed was $20,000, which back then, I don't know. I don't have the math in front of me, but it's probably 4 times that. You know, it's not chump change. It's not chump change now.
No.
But it wasn't chump change then. So they just traveled. Keep it in mind. They were just in Italy.
Yeah.
They flew back home from Italy. So they had money to be on vacation during the war. They come back home, drop $20,000, probably $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 of that back then money on starting a festival,
Over a huge risk.
which ended up
It's a huge risk. Back
on
then,
a huge risk on like a concept that people didn't know about, like a festival. What is this? What like in a small city, they co-founded the Newport Folk Festival, which fused jazz, blues, country, and pop together. And in 1954, over 11,000 people gathered for what they then started to call the Newport Jazz Festival in Rhode Island. It was America's first ever jazz festival. Wow. It's still running today. It's been running for whatever that is. I don't know, 60 plus years.
In Newport?
In Rhode Island,
okay.
yeah. Newport, yeah, the Newport Jazz Festival is still a thing. It brings thousands of people, and they've been able to keep their integrity. They haven't become commercialized because they've been true to who they were since the beginning.
You know what's
which we'll get into.
You know what's funny? This reminds me of a clip. I don't know if you've seen this clip before, but there's a clip where I don't know what this. Maybe this is the 50s, 60s, where it was a concert that all these white women went to. And the artist was black. Like I think it was number radio. So it was like there was no TV. So it's like they all went to see this singer who they thought were white. At least this is what the video caption. I don't know how true this is.
I know what you're describing. I'm not sure how true it is, but finish.
When this guy's up there sing, I mean, he was a talented artist.
Right. I think it was Frankie Valli.
Yeah, and it was like the faces on these white women, they just looked like they were disappointed.
They didn't know he was black.
Shocked. Yeah. And it was just like I said, we don't know how true that is, but I just the facial expressions of these women, you go like, damn. They thought this was a white man.
Well, here's the thing. And I believe I know exactly the video you're talking about, and I did do research on that because I thought that was crazy. Yeah, that was insane. And when I think they did a fact check, and the fact check isn't much better, honestly. The fact check was they were not allowed to dance to black music. Like they told them, like, look, the guy's gonna come out. We booked him for the show, but if you dance at this, we will kick you out or arrest you or something like that. Like, or arrest him, or like you're not allowed to make white people dance, basically. Wow. So they were not reacting to his music, whether they were having fun or not. They weren't allowed to dance. Like they weren't supposed to dance. So that's not much better than they thought he was white and then he came out and he's black. Yeah. But that is like horrible. And I feel, but like think about that's not to say that didn't happen. Yeah. I just know the video you're talking about. I'm sure that happened. Like these people hear a song they like, they hear there's a concert in town, they get there, they're like, wait, what? Yeah. No. Also, that's there were crazy, I mean, Sinatra was notorious for disobeying a lot of those like rules in those white towns. When he would bring Sammy Davis Jr. and stuff with him in the Rat Pack, they would be like, black people aren't allowed to sing on the stage. He was like, well, then I'm not performing. Yeah. You know, so Sinatra was about that, but one person who wasn't about that life was Elvis Presley. He said, fuck them niggas. If they came here and they wanted to perform, and y'all are saying, I don't get my check if I let them on the stage, go home, Roger. I'm going to do my set, and then you're not allowed to perform. I'm going to sing your song, Little Richard.
Don't give me credit for nothing.
They don't give me credit for nothing. Little Richard's in the back on the side of the stage like, okay, so Elvis is going to do his thing. I'm going to go out there and show him how it's really done. Elvis is like, I don't think so, Richard. They said you can't perform, and I'm not. He's like, well, then we're out of here, right, Elvis? And he's like, I don't think so. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to get my money and my jelly donuts, and then you can take your black ass to the Chitlin Circuit and have a good time. So Elvis Presley was one person who stole a lot of black culture and did not ride for black people at all. Because why? You gotta get the bag. But that's why I always fuck with Frank Sinatra, though. At least from what I hear, I'm sure that you can find a bunch of instances of. Actually, I don't know if you can. From what I've heard, Frank Sinatra was a down ass dude. He was down with the mob, and he was if you're not letting Sammy, my boy Sammy. Now that might have been just because Sammy was his homeboy, but I don't know. I heard a lot of Frank Sinatra like is a cool ass dude. If you're not letting my boy Sammy Davis on the stage, then you don't get the Rat Pack at all. And Frank Sinatra was him back then. He was like Justin. He was like Justin Timberlake. So of course they're gonna let Sammy Davis Jr. if it's like, well, if he swings his weight around and goes, if you don't let him on the stage, we're leaving. Then Sammy Davis Jr. is performing tonight. Now think about how big Elvis is, and him to go, oh, I'm a big old big fat pussycat, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get my money and fuck them. And I'm going to sing songs that I've stolen from black people for the whole set. I'm singing B.B. King songs. I'm singing Little Richard songs. I'm singing all black people songs, and I'm not gonna let one of them touch the stage because y'all said I don't get my money if I do that.
I don't want to get too much on the sidebar. Now, will a Elvis stan, would they agree with that he stole music from black people, or they would go?
I think that a lot of people covered music back then. Like a lot of people did covers of people's songs, and they didn't have to give them credit. They could interpolate it and redo it and whatever, and people were kind of passing songs along, but I think any real musician would tell you that Elvis did a poor version of a lot of popular black songs. And because he was white and could move his hips as a white man, he got the masses when he was doing a bad version of Little Richard.
Okay.
Like Little Richard comes up there and sings Tutti Frutti, does a backflip, does a split, lights the piano on fire, whatever. And then Elvis comes out and does the great value version of what Little Richard just did. But because he's white women are like, oh my God, I can't believe it. You know, it's the Justin Bieber effect. Yeah. When one of them little kids from Vine or whatever did the Dougie, who gives a shit? But if you see Justin Bieber do a little ugly half of Dougie, oh, he's got soul. He's invited to the cookout. Yeah. He's the this, he's the that. That was Elvis. Elvis took black art and did it half as good and got 10 times as much as the stuff. It's the knock, and no disrespect, I don't want to go on a music tangent, but it's a music-based episode. And I disagree, but in parts, I think a lot of people say you could throw a rock on the R&B charts and find women that sing a lot better than Adele. But because Adele is white and can sing like that, she's heralded as one of the biggest singers of all time. Now, I think Adele can blow.
I think she can too.
But I think Jasmine Sullivan can blow too.
I think Jasmine Sullivan can blow better than Adele.
I think Jasmine Sullivan can blow better than Adele too, Fran. I'll step out there with you. I was just saying I didn't.
I get your point.
I
get your point.
I think she can too. Jasmine Sullivan will never be as big as Adele.
Absolutely not.
You know, so but that's no knock against Adele. Adele can blow, but it's Eminem. Yeah. Eminem can rap. Does Eminem being white and being able to rap like that help him tremendously?
This is not
of
new.
Course.
This is not new. No, this is the history.
This is bro. Again, I don't want to go on a tangent. Now we're on a tangent, but we haven't been on a tangent in a while. There's a documentary about Boyz II Men.
Okay. The
music industry actively said Boyz II Men came out and all that Motown shuffle, whatever, all that shit they was doing, end of the road, platinum. The bow ties and matching and doing doo-wopping and shoe-wopping. Labels were like, these guys are tearing the charts up, but we don't want to give them our money because we think if we found 5 white dudes who could do this half as good, we'll sell 10 times as many records because these people are doing, they're this successful only cornering the black market. Boyz II Men, they transitioned a little bit, like they went pop a little bit, but they weren't in sync. In sync was in Japan, and like Boyz II Men didn't do that. But they stole Boyz II Men whole sauce, got 5 young white dudes, and just did the thing.
Man. That's crazy.
That's all it is. Is like, take this art. We like the art. We don't want your face. So we're going to take your art and your style and your harmonies and whatever, and we're going to put it on over here, and it's going to do gangbusters. And that's the formula. And that's been the formula for a long time. Anyway, sorry for the tangent. We're talking about music. Anyway, back to festival cultures and stuff like that, huh? So like I just, I went on the thing about the Newport Jazz Festival in Rhode Island and everything like that. And music festivals in their modern day sense, which are really known for celebrating peace, love, counterculture, and an escape from the rat race of everyday life. So, Burning Man, Coachella, people they want to, celebrate in diversity and great music and colors and wearing what you want to wear and expressing yourself. Like that's what modern day music festivals are probably known as. Even though I have my thoughts on modern day music festivals, but I won't, for the most part, that's what they're known for, but they've really gone downhill. But anyway, this iteration of music festivals really began in 1967 with the Monterey International Pop Festival, which was America's first ever major rock festival. So the Newport Jazz Festival was the first jazz festival. Now it was successful enough, had enough rumblings that it influenced another genre to do a festival, and this one kind of had its own energy and was more free and hippie based and love and whatever. And this kind of sparked the idea of what a festival is today: outside, big crowds, people dancing with each other like that. This festival, the Monterey International Pop Festival, was the first of its kind in that regard and kind of laid the blueprint for what festivals would become known to be like. Yeah. So this festival was the big debut of Janis Joplin. It was America's introduction to The Who, because The Who, the big band, but they were a they were Europe based,
Okay.
like the Beatles.
Okay.
It was a really big deal when the Beatles came to America. Like they were already doing their thing. They were big over there in Europe and England, and then they came over here and took over America.
Okay.
The Who did a similar thing. Like people had heard about the Who in America. Like people, if you were really like into music, you had heard the Who. But then they came over here, and got on not Johnny Carson, but like late night shows and performing and stuff. This was their first. They did this festival. This was kind of their first stepping foot onto American land. The Who. This festival was also where Jimi Hendrix notoriously and famously and iconically set his guitar on fire while he was playing it.
He's the GOAT, man. Jimi Hendrix. There was a
that dude.
I looked up a well, I'll get into it when we get to. Keep on going. I'll
no. But I agree with you. Jimi Hendrix is the man, and if you have more on that, please step in anytime. I would love to hear more about how Jimi Hendrix is the man. I agree. So that's right, Fran. Let me just make sure people understand. What I said was this festival was called the Monterey International Pop Festival. So contrary to popular belief, Woodstock was not the first festival of its kind.
Now, there we go.
Everybody gives this credit to Woodstock.
So I knew nothing about Woodstock. I've heard of it. TV shows.
Sure. You've had to have heard the name.
Woodstock TV shows where, in the episode Always Sunny, Frank, they had a football game. He pops ass and goes, Woodstock, baby. And I was like, what the hell is Woodstock? Right. So I never knew what it was, but it was it's the most famous festival.
It's the festival.
It's the festival. Even though it wasn't the first. But again, back to my Jimi Hendrix fact I wanted to put out there. He's a GOAT, not obviously because he's an artist, but there was a fact that I looked up some facts of the Woodstock, and he performed on like a Monday at Woodstock or whatever. Yeah, and he had a clause in his contract that was like, nobody can perform after me.
I'm the closer. Period. Yeah,
nobody's performing after me. I'm gonna go in here and fuck shit up, and that's how we're gonna shut it down. So it's either he would go at the end, or he would be like he would just have a day.
His own whole
day. I was like, man, that dude is man.
He would just go up there and squiddle, left-handed, hair.
The band, iconic, man.
He's the man, bro. Jimi Hendrix was that dude. Man, for sure, man. Jimi Hendrix was him for sure. He was Hemi Hendrix. He was Hemi Hendrix for sure. So, but it is interesting that when people talk about festivals, Woodstock is the quintessential festival. Yeah. It's what every festival wants to be. It's what every festival is trying to emulate. It's what every festival is trying to gain the icon status of. Every festival. Coachella wants so bad to be Woodstock, and it's not. But Woodstock was an accident. That's the thing. Like, you can't manufacture what Woodstock was. It rained, and when if you look at footage of it, it actually looked like a terrible time. But everybody just said, "Fuck it."
Oh, it was
free.
terrible.
We're here. Like it was muddy.
It was undermanaged. It wasn't well managed at all. They like when I looked. Hey, I'm because when we got there, I wanted to kind of bring up some facts about Woodstock that I thought was pretty interesting. So
go to them. Get into
them
now.
Attended estimates were varied, but they believed 400,000 music lovers attended Woodstock. They said,
say it again.
400,000 music lovers attended Woodstock. They said Woodstock didn't actually happen in Woodstock, but it was in Bethel, New York, which is an hour away from Woodstock. And they said that they didn't even have enough food to feed the people because it was so many people that they had they was about to cancel Woodstock in the middle of it because they didn't have enough resources and they had helicopters bringing food. It was a whole bunch. I was like, this is crazy.
It was basically Fire Festival, but they all said fuck it and had a good time. Well, no, you know what it was? It was Fire Festival, but the artists actually showed up.
Yeah.
So it was here's my thing. Hot take. I feel like if Fire Festival actually delivered on what they said they could do, people would have probably excused the living conditions and the food conditions and everything because they get to see Lil Baby or whoever they said was going to play. Nobody was at that thing. Yeah. So, but Woodstock was like, no, Jimi Hendrix is here. You just don't have toilets or food or tents or running water. So if you're cool with being disgusting and muddy and hungry, but you get to see Jimi Hendrix, then cool. And that's what they were.
Yeah.
People were out there fucking each other in the mud, and while Jimi Hendrix is performing, they all said fuck it.
Yeah. And two people died from overdose.
At Woodstock?
Yeah, 2 people died from overdose, and one was ran over by a truck.
Jesus Christ. At Woodstock?
Yeah, because like it said that he ran over by truck because the truck driver didn't see a man sleeping in a tent, a sleeping bag.
And just ran over the sleeping bag. What a way to go.
Man.
You just, and probably having good
Deep
sleep. Just had a great night, had your first threesome, because Woodstock was crazy.
Yeah.
Had your first threesome, saw fucking Janis Joplin screaming in the fucking, into the rain, and then you just, in heaven, like those TikToks, where people are like, they just wake up in heaven, like something happens, they're at the store, and they're like, oh, you stepped on my shoes, let me just, what? You're like, you're in heaven all of a sudden. That's how he was. You know, he was asleep, and then he just was in heaven. Wow, what a way to go. But no, I didn't know that many people attended Woodstock. That's crazy. But so the late 60s kicked off the festival explosion with a boom. So there was this big explosion of festivals in the 60s. And throughout the 70s, the popularity of music festivals spread throughout the world, and these massive gatherings began to pop up everywhere. On December 3rd, 1979, more than 18,000 people were sold tickets to The Who's first concert at the Cincinnati Riverfront Stadium. There were only 25 police officers allotted for the crowd of 18,000 people. That's 720 people per cop.
My goodness.
That you have to be responsible for. If something goes wrong, one cop has to try to even it out. One cop has to be responsible for 720 people.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that for sure. If they're going crazy and start moshing or whatever. So that's 720 people per cop. The set was supposed to begin at 8 p.m., but the doors to the venue were still closed at 7:45. So, today they let you come in.
Okay.
They let you come in and get settled. They weren't doing this at this point in 1979. You stayed outside the gate, and then like 10 minutes before the show started, they opened the doors up and you flood imagine if a basketball game, you go to it and they go, the game starts at 8.
Gotta run and get your seat.
We don't open the doors till 8:30. You got to come in to concession stand. It's too much.
So let me ask you a question. When you because you've been to a festival, right?
I've been to a few.
So when you were a part of YBB, how was can you explain? YBB is the Yellow Boot Boys. So how do you explain that? Explain that experience. How was that?
So wow, seems like another life ago. So the Yellow Boot Boys were we were going to this festival called Firefly. Okay. My friends JJ and Les and I were going to this festival called Firefly in Delaware. And it got rained out. And we thought to ourselves, something, we didn't really prepare for this. So what do? We went to an Ace Hardware store. Okay. We all bought yellow, adorable rain boots. And we called ourselves the Yellow Boot Boys. We wrote Yellow Boot Boys all over it. And we did a guerrilla marketing campaign for the entire weekend of Firefly. We were the Yellow Boot Boys. We were walking around, Yellow Boot Boys, follow us, # Yellow Boot Boys, da-da-da-da. And we had a great time. And we ended up getting a write-up in like the Delaware Times or whatever. Like
really?
Somebody wrote an article about it. It's like Firefly brings out all these characters every year. There's the Yellow Boot Boys. But that's what festival culture is, bro. You just go and you have a good time and you be silly and whatever. And we had a great time. We wore our yellow boots, did some drugs, and had a great time, man. I saw Outkast. Okay. I saw Childish Gambino that year. It was a great time. Yeah. In a crowd of people. High out of my mind. Okay, wearing yellow boots.
What about the experience though? Like, would you do it again?
At 31 years old, probably not. I mean, I slept in a tent in somebody's backyard. Like, if I was to do a festival at this age, I probably would do one day and pick the day where everybody that I want to see is at that day. Sure. I would do glamping, which is like camping, but not really. Like you have air conditioning and bathrooms and stuff. Yes. And it would be a very curated version of what I did when I was like 23 years old.
Okay.
So would I do it? Yeah. Would I go spend a day listening to bands? Yeah, but I wouldn't like sleep out in a parking lot and shower with a portable shower and be stinking and all that. No, I wouldn't do all that. Okay. But I would do it again at 31. But it's something about being 23 and doing it the dumb way. That's the part of the fun.
Yeah, right.
Being gross and whatever and meeting people because you're all sleeping in the parking lot and just talking and all. That was part of the fun. I saw aliens that year too.
Aliens?
Yeah, in the sky. I saw aliens when Firefly, last night Firefly. I saw aliens.
Well, you said you were on drugs though.
On God.
But you were...
Well, on God, I was on drugs, but I did see aliens as well. Both of those things are true. Both of those things on God. I saw aliens on God, and I was...
While on drugs.
Yes.
And it probably wasn't aliens. But sure. Okay, got it.
Well, hey, all I know is the government is now confirming alien sightings and all that stuff. Ooh, I was just ahead of the curve.
Shocked.
I was ahead of the curve. Yeah. Coincidence, maybe, but maybe my third eye was open before everybody else's was. I'm just saying. Anyway, so back to the concert, right? So the doors were set to open The concert was set to begin at 8 p.m., but the doors to the venue were still closed at 7:45. And the anxious crowd heard what was actually the Who's warm-up. So, like, the Who's, like, their roadies and stuff were just tuning the instruments. Yeah. So they heard instruments playing and lost their shit. They started surging on the doors and broke the doors down, and the surge led to 11 deaths from tramplings.
Jeez.
18,000 people rushed the doors, broke them down. People were stepping on people, trying to go see it's a concert.
Man.
As a result of this tragedy, new regulations were put into effect to keep order during large concerts that are still practiced today. I think I don't know what they are, but I would think one of them is letting people in like a couple hours early before the show. So you get in and get settled in, and there's not this rush. People can get their drinks. There's no all this anxiety. All that anxiety is just now in place at the stage, waiting for the person to come out. You don't have to like come in. It was such a terrible idea.
I have anxiety.
To do it that way.
Imagine being trampled.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm sure that's awful.
Man.
Like imagine. Here's the thing, which we'll get into, but I want to set it up right. Imagine buying tickets to your favorite artist. 20,000 people show up. You rush to get to the barricade where it's just you, the stage, and you're like in the front. And now when that crowd gets crazy, 20,000 people are all pushing on your back, pushing you into a metal bar. The metal bar is pushing into your chest and you can't breathe, and that's how you die. And your favorite person in the world is on the stage being like, go crazier. And you're like, please, I can't. You're reaching out there like, yeah, right on. They give you a high five. They smack your hand like, this is a fan. And then you pass out and fall down. And people, you know what people do? They step right in your spot on your body and get right up against that bar. Now you're out of their way.
I know we're going to get deep into it, but that's why I haven't been, dying to go to like a festival concert, because like I don't need it's like me going to a sports game. I go like, if I can't be comfortable with a good seat, like a front row, I don't want to. Sure. I don't want to go. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. I'm just not. It's not appealing.
That's
to me
the thing.
Like
for sure, like the festival atmosphere and a concert are very different things. Like if you go see Kendrick Lamar at his concert, you get a seat, or even if it's general admission, like everybody's organized. A festival is it's outdoors and it's crazy. The energy is different. At a concert, people are not going. I mean, they are. Concerts get crazy too. But I'm just saying, for the most part, the festival atmosphere, you get away with so much. People are being surfed across the people. There's volleyballs being smacked in the sky. It's just crazy. A concert and a festival are very different. I don't think that I would want to be in the mix of a festival. That's the thing. The other thing I like about a festival is you can get just close enough that you can put a blanket down on the ground and watch the festival. You won't be anywhere near the stage, but you can still be partaking in the energy of the concert at a festival. But if you want to see Drake at a festival, you're going to be shoulder to shoulder with 30,000 people.
Okay. Yeah.
I saw A$AP Rocky. There were 20,000 people at a crowd. And then he dropped Lord Flacco Jody. I don't know if anybody knows that song. That song is one of the hardest songs ever, period. And when he dropped that song, 20,000 people made the ground shake. Like, it was crazy. It's a different energy. Yeah. Like, it was just, I can't really describe it. But if that's not your cup of tea, you're going to have an awful time. If people stepping on your shoes and bumping into you and shit, like, if you're mad at that, you're going to have a terrible
Throwing
time.
elbows at people. Fucking get off of
like,
me.
Man, come on, man. Come on.
Lord Pretty Flacco Jody. He's like, fighting people?
Yeah, like... You're mad, like, this dude fucking step on my shoes. Like, bro, it's raining. I was like, you can't be mad about your shoes don't wear nice shoes to the festival.
Don't wear no white Air Forces, Nike Air Forces to a concert.
Because you're going to be furious. You're going to be furious. You're going to be all stepped on. Your shoes going to be stomped out. But anyway, so moving on from the Who concert example, the festival spirit persisted for the next two decades through the 80s and 90s, inspiring mass concerts from just about every genre imaginable. So there was, rock concerts and hip hop concerts and festivals and folk festivals. Like everybody caught on. Like, oh, you can get 20 artists, a couple of stages, couple of days, and get thousands of people to show up and have a really cool event. And everybody from every genre started. Country festivals, everybody started to catch on. In the 1980s and 90s, a lot of those festivals either saw a decline in attendance numbers or just disappeared altogether. American popular music festivals hit a dry spell. But that only meant that the music festivals were changing once again. So that means people kind of got like festival fatigue. And that meant it was time to switch it up. Like, we need to change what a festival is. Yeah, we need to change what a festival is. And this is where the 90s ushered in the evolution of musical gatherings based around electronic dance music. EDM festivals, Fran, I know you don't know, but like these are the biggest ones. Like Electric Carnival, like all these ones, I don't know all the names of them, but like I think there's one in Miami, like Electric Carnival, and there's one out in Germany. Like today, they're huge, hundreds of thousands of people, and they're all there to hear like Zed and all that, and glow sticks and big furry boots with hot pants and fishnet shirts. Like those people, those are the biggest festivals. And the 90s brought in that genre. So electronic music quickly spread to all parts of the world. Many abandoned buildings, some without any owners, were taken over by young people who organized illegal dance parties fueled by drugs and alcohol. This is when you talk glow sticks and all that, DJs with sunglasses on at nighttime. That whole image of that, underground raves, that started in the 90s.
That sounds like a good time, though.
Yeah, they are a fun time.
Oh, wait, so you've been to illegal music gatherings?
No, I've been to so they have these fake illegal ones. Like they're all curated, but like you get the email at 12 o'clock, like this is where the event's going to be. And you need to be there, come around the back and whatever. But like you buy it.
So you haven't been to an authentic illegal music gathering?
No, like a word of mouth, like we're all just like, we got a keg. This is like
the risk of we're not supposed to be here. It makes it fun.
No, I bought a ticket from we were allowed to be there, but it was a secret show.
Got you.
So it had the elements of like, this is a dirty building and oh my goodness or whatever, but like I paid $40 to be there.
So it wasn't real. It wasn't a real thing.
The drugs were very real. Anyway, so techno from the USA and Germany, acid house and house music birthed modern rave culture. So between the US and Germany and their rave culture, they birthed what is known as modern rave today. Power plants, bunkers, hangars, and underground stations all became temporary clubs packed with people excited to blow off steam to their favorite music. Now, friend, here's another issue that came with big festivals and big shows and big concerts as far as doing them in these abandoned buildings and just small buildings in general. Like the name of the game is always to try to beat the fire marshal. You always want to take it as close to capacity as you can because then you get the most money. But that's dangerous for a lot of reasons. But one of the biggest examples of this and why it can be dangerous happened in the same state where the first jazz festival took place in Rhode Island. Okay. On February 20th, 2003, in West Warwick, Rhode Island, crowds were well past fire capacity at Station Nightclub. A large crowd gathered to see the band Great White perform.
And what was this? What was this festival called?
It was just a concert.
Oh, okay,
it was just a concert. It was just a concert. But like as far as like music, entertainment, events, this is one of the biggest tragedies in that realm. So thousands of people packed into this building to see this band Great White perform. Never heard of Great White, couldn't name you a song. The band's tour manager set off some pyrotechnics that set insulation ablaze and took a while for the audience to understand that the flames weren't part of the show. So there's the pyrotechnics go off, it lights some stuff on fire, and then people think it's still going on. Like, oh, these pyrotechnics are awesome. There's still like little glowing embers in the background, like the place was on fire. And they didn't realize it. Once they did, there was a mass exodus. Most concert goers tried to leave the way that they entered, which was through one door. The ensuing stampede crushed and knocked over many people, and people died from suffocation, smoke inhalation, or were claimed by the fire itself, including Great White's lead guitarist, Ty Longley. That night, 100 lives were lost in total. In January 2010, the club owners, the manufacturers of the hazardous toxic building insulation, Anheuser-Busch, Clear Channel Broadcasting, and the town of West Warwick, which was in Rhode Island, West Warwick, Rhode Island is where the concert was, settled for $176 million to be distributed among the survivors of the fire and the children and families of those who perished.
Wow.
When you talk about organization, who does the responsibility fall on to know that the insulation is terrible and pyrotechnics shouldn't be going off? Who tells the manager of the band not to play pyrotechnics? And then if the manager doesn't tell the band not to hit the pyrotechnics, is the manager responsible for killing 100 people because he hit the pyrotechnics button? Like, that's the thing when you talk about how many chefs are supposed to be in the kitchen for a festival, for a concert, for whatever. can you really put the responsibility on one person? I think that's an important distinction and an important question that we need to ask ourselves. And we're going to ask ourselves that question in part 2.